Most business owners are unknowingly leaking millions of dollars in growth that they should be easily capturing. And no, it's not because the offer isn't good enough, not because the market is slowing down, but because they're running their business with too many competing directions at once without realizing it. See, the number one problem that business owners face once their business starts to grow is that they get overloaded by opportunities. Because the more your business grows, the more genuinely great opportunities start showing up on your desk. It could be a big client who's asking you to move upmarket, or a new offer or partnership that pulls you into a new industry, and maybe even an investor who wants you to raise capital and scale much faster than you planned. And here's the thing, each one of them on its own is actually a legit great opportunity, which is exactly why saying no feels hard. And since almost none of them are obviously wrong, most founders end up saying yes to more of them than they should. And it's only after a few years later that they look up and realize that they wasted years of their life and millions of dollars building a business they never actually meant to build. That's why in this video, I'm going to show you the exact step-by-step framework that I have personally used along with hundreds of other founders to pick the one direction that actually 10x their business over the next few years. Step 1. Figure out what problem your business has right now. Now, the very first thing you have to do before making any decisions in your business is to figure out what your business actually needs right now. This might sound wrong, but many times one exact same decision can be genius in one situation and destroy your business in another. And it all depends on what your business actually needs right now. For example, let's say you are hiring a sales director for the business that's running nicely and you just need to grow it faster. In that situation, that is a great move. But let's say you are running another company that's losing money every month and it's struggling to keep its head above the water. Now, in this situation, hiring a sales director will be considered. See, every business at any point in time is one of 4 situations. The first is when the business isn't making money reliable yet. So maybe the cash is unpredictable, delivery is broken, and you are just trying to keep the whole thing alive. The second is when the business is making money, but you are pulled into many directions to figure out where to focus. You have got too many offers, too many markets, and too many good opportunities on your plate all at once. The third is when you know exactly where the business is going, but everything still has to run through you personally, whether it's approval, calls, client communications, deliverables, everything. In this situation, you are the main bottleneck. And the fourth is when your business already runs really well without you having to be in the middle of everything. So before you go any further, figure out and note down which one of these 4 situations your business actually is in right now. Step 2. Figure out which business you actually want to build. Now, once you know the situation your business is in, the next thing you have to do is get really clear on what kind of business you're actually trying to build. Because here's the part that most founders never really think about. 2 founders can both hit $5 million a year and end up with 2 businesses that look completely different from each other. So for example, let's say founder A is running an agency with $5 million a year in revenue, with 8 people on their team, working with 20 high-ticket clients, doing 50% margins, and personally working around 30 hours a week. But now founder B is also doing $5 million a year, but he's doing it with a team of 40 people, working with 200 smaller clients, doing 15% margins, and personally working 60 hours a week. Both of them are technically at the same revenue number. But founder A is running a complete different business than founder B. And most importantly, he's also living a completely different life than him. Now, the difference between them came down to 4 specific choices that one of them made deliberately and the other one never thought about. First, who is the customer you are actually building for, and which types of customer are you saying no to? Second, what kind of margins are you willing to work with? Because that directly changes what kind of business you end up running. Third, how much time do you actually want to be spending in this business day to day? And fourth, what kind of company are you deliberately refusing to build? The last one is the one that almost no founders think about. So let's say I had a founder who was making $4 million a year, and an enterprise deal came across his desk for $500,000. Now on paper, it's an obvious yes. I mean, it's $500,000 from one client. But the business the founder was actually building was a high margin business with a small team where he could work from anywhere in the world. And to service that enterprise deal, he would have had to hire 6 people, take on months of custom work, and be tied to that one client for years. So he refused the deal. Fast forward 6 months later, his margins were actually higher than they were before, his team was still small, and he was still doing what he originally set out to do. Trust me, once you actually know which business you are building, half of the decisions you were struggling with just stop being decisions and become obvious. Your team stops asking you questions that they should be answering themselves, because now they finally have real principles to work off of. Step number 3, figure out the one move to make the next. Alright, so now that you know what situation your business is in and know what business you are trying to build, the last step is figuring out what to actually do about it. Now at this point, you probably have a bunch of things on your plate that all feel important, and the temptation is to try to solve 5 or 6 of them at the same time. But in my experience, every business at any given point in time really only has one thing that's actually holding everything else back. And until you fix that thing, nothing else is going to move the needle the way you want it to. So here's the question you have to ask yourself. Out of everything going on in my business business right now? What is the one thing that, if I fixed it, would make most other problems easier or irrelevant? And no, I'm not talking about the most urgent thing or the most annoying thing. So for example, let's say you are at 3 million and growth has been flat for the past 2 quarters. Now, normal business owners might think that the problem is that you need more leads or a better sales process or a new offer. But when you actually sit with the question, you realize that the real issue is that your delivery is so inconsistent that even if you doubled your leads tomorrow, you couldn't handle the extra clients. So the leads aren't the actual constraint. The delivery is. And once you fix delivery, the leads problem and the sales problem and the capacity problem all get easy at the same time. That's what a good move looks like. It doesn't just fix one thing, it also fixes 3, 4, 5 other things that were stuck behind it. So once you find the constraint, your move is whatever removes it. And the key here is to commit fully and execute it properly over the next 90 days. And one more thing to keep in mind is that whatever move you pick, it has to fit the business you chose in step 2. Because a move that solves your constraint but pulls you in a direction you didn't choose is just trading one problem with another. So before you commit, check it against what you decided you're building. If it fits, go. If it doesn't, find a different way to solve the constraint that does. And that's how you stop running a confusing business and start making every decision with total clarity. Now, if you want me to personally look at your business, figure out exactly what situation you're in, what direction you should be going, and tell you what the single best move is for you, then click the top link in the description where you will be able to fill out a short application about your business. And if it's a good fit, all you have to do is send me your numbers, your offer, team setup, and the big question you have been stuck on. From there, I personally spent a few hours going through your entire business, reading through everything you sent me, and I put together a full game plan that covers exactly what direction your business should be going in. Anyway, that's all from me for this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.